The throne room was cold, not because of the stone walls but because of the silence. Everything inside it was too perfect, too clean, like even the dust was afraid to move. At the center of the chamber, a tall alien woman sat on a black throne, made of steel and glass. Her eyes were gold, her skin smooth like silver metal, and her voice, when she finally spoke, was soft but sharp. "Bring him in." 2 guards entered. Between them, chained at the wrists, walked a human man. He was tired, dirty, but he stood tall. His name was Elias Vance, and he had not spoken in 3 days. He was supposed to die here. Everyone had said so. The Empress of the Zahari Empire did not keep prisoners. She ended them, quick, clean, without mercy. But today, she looked at him like she was thinking something different. She rose from her throne, her steps made no sound. She stood in front of Elias. Close. Too close. He stared back, not afraid, just waiting. She studied his face, then said, "You are not like the others." "No," he said. "I'm not kneeling." The guards moved, but she raised a hand. They froze. A strange smile touched her lips. "I respect honesty." She walked around him once, slow, then back to his front. "You are strong," she said. "But that is not rare. You are proud. That is not rare either. What is rare," she paused, "is that your blood carries what mine cannot." Elias frowned. "What?" She motioned, and a screen blinked on. It showed his medical scan, and hers, a perfect match, genetically compatible. "You can give me an heir." Elias stepped back. "I'm not a breeder." "No," she said. "You're a prisoner." Silence. The kind that presses on your chest. Then she added, "But I will make you an offer." "I don't want it." "You haven't heard it yet." Elias looked at her, at the guards, the glass ceiling, the floating city beyond it. He had no way out, he knew that. But still he stood like a soldier. The Empress continued, "My people are dying. Our bloodline is broken. I am the last. I have fought wars, ended worlds, but I cannot create life." She turned to him. "You can." Elias didn't speak. She stepped closer. "If you give me an heir," she said, "you will not die. You will not be a slave. You will live in comfort, in safety, and when the child is born," she paused, "you will be free." Elias laughed, dry and sharp. "Until then, I'm just your captive." She didn't blink. "Until then, you are necessary." He looked away, at the window, at the stars beyond, then back at her. "You think I'd raise a child like this?" "I did not ask you to raise it," she said, "just to leave it behind." He hated her in that moment, for how calm she was, how cold. But he also saw something else behind her eyes. Not power, not pride, just loneliness. He took a slow breath, then asked, "And if I say no?" She looked at him for a long time, then whispered, "Then you'll stay forever." Elias closed his eyes. His hands tightened in the chains. Then finally, he nodded. "Fine." She looked surprised. "On one condition." She tilted her head. "You are in no place to bargain." "I am if you want a future." She waited. Elias said, "If I give you a child, I get to see the real you. No throne, no crown, just the woman beneath." The Empress didn't answer, not with words. She turned, walked away, but as she reached the doors, she said, "Tonight, we begin. Not as lovers, not as rulers, just 2 creatures, trying not to be alone." And so the human did not die, the chain stayed on, but the lock was already breaking. Elias woke up in silk. The bed was too soft, the sheets too clean. The ceiling above him shimmered with tiny lights, like stars trapped in glass. He sat up slowly. His chains were gone, but he wasn't free. No guards, no locks, just silence. and walls that didn't let him forget. This was still a cage. Just a beautiful one. The room had everything. Food appeared on command. Clothes made from smooth alien fabric lay folded in drawers. A hot shower. A library. A music player. But no door led out. Just a glowing field near the far wall. Invisible until you touched it. And then it burned. Elias tested it once. That was enough. The Empress didn't come the first day, or the second. On the third, she entered, without a sound, wearing no crown, no armor, just a simple robe of white, her long silver hair braided behind her. Elias was reading a book. He didn't look up. "You said you'd show me the real you," he said flatly. She answered, "This is the closest I've been in years." She sat across from him. No guards followed, no weapons visible. But Elias knew. She didn't need them. She was power in quiet skin. They didn't talk about the deal. Not at first. They talked about food, about Earth, about the time she saw snow on a dying moon. Elias listened, not because he trusted her, but because something in her voice made him want to hear more. That night, he ate alone. The food tasted like spices and fire. He wondered if she had ever eaten without eyes watching. Her the next day she came again. And again the day after, always the same. No orders, no threats, just questions. What do humans fear most? Why do you look at stars even when you know they won't answer back? What does it feel like to be loved? That last question made him pause. He looked at her. For once she looked away. Each visit she stayed longer, and each night Elias walked his cage alone, touching the walls, counting the lights, and wondering, why does she keep me here if she could have anyone? One evening she fell asleep on the couch, a book open in her hand. Elias watched her chest rise and fall. For the first time, she looked tired, not just physically, tired in her soul. Then, without warning, she spoke in her sleep. One word, his name, Elias. He stood frozen. That was not a command. That was not a threat. That was something else. The next morning he asked her, "Why me?" She answered with no smile, no games. "Because I thought I needed your blood, but now I think I need your presence more." Elias stood, walked to the invisible wall, touched it. It didn't burn this time, just hummed. He turned to her. "Don't you ever want to leave this room? This palace?" She didn't answer right away. Then, "I haven't stepped outside in 3 years." Elias said nothing. He looked at the food, the books, the lights, and realized, we're both prisoners here. The palace was quiet. Too quiet. Not a single guard in the hall outside Elias's chamber. No morning visit, no soft questions, no strange music humming from the ceiling. Elias waited until the meal tray didn't arrive. Then he knew something was wrong. He pounded on the wall. No one answered. He called her name. Nothing. He paced the room for an hour before a low beep sounded near the side panel. The wall slid open. For the first time in weeks. The door was unlocked. He didn't hesitate. The palace halls were long and gold and empty. Statues lined the way, silent, watching. But Elias wasn't looking at them. He was following the trail of blood. Thin drops, dark red, fresh. They led to the throne room, but it wasn't lit. The great windows were covered. The Empress's voice came from the dark. "You shouldn't be here." He stopped in the doorway. "Neither should you," he said. "You're bleeding." She was lying on the steps below the throne, clutching her side, armor cracked, her robe torn. She looked at him, not as a ruler, not as a goddess, but as someone who had finally stopped pretending. "I was attacked," she said. "One of my own." "Why?" he asked. She laughed once, short, bitter. "Because I chose a human over a throne." He walked forward, slowly. She didn't stop him. He knelt beside her and reached for the cut. "I don't need your help," she muttered. "Then die proud," Elias said, "or live stubborn." She gave him a look, but she didn't pull away. The wound wasn't deep, but it was old, scar tissue under the skin. Not from this fight, from many before. "How many times have you been hurt like this?" he asked. She looked away. Her voice dropped. "Since I was 13. He stared at her. Her golden eyes didn't shine like they used to. "Not today. I became Empress by surviving," she said. "Not by being the strongest. Just the last." Elias cleaned the wound gently. Her breath hitched, but she didn't flinch. He looked at the scar again, old, twisted. It stretched down her side. "I was taken when I was young," she said. "By a rebel leader. Held for weeks. When I escaped, they said I was lucky." She paused. "But I never felt lucky again." Elias didn't speak. He didn't have to. She continued. "They taught me to wear armor, to speak cold, to kill fast." Her hand trembled. "But they never taught me how to be touched, without expecting pain." He put the bandage over the wound. His hands gentle, warm. "No one taught me either," he said. She looked at him. Really looked. "You weren't supposed to matter." "You didn't either," he said. At first, they sat in silence, one bleeding, one holding the bandage in place, neither speaking like rulers or prisoners. Just two souls, scarred, stubborn, breathing the same air. After a while, she said, "You still want to give me an heir?" Elias stood, looked down at her and said, "Ask me again, when you stop asking like a queen." 3 days passed. No crown, no commands, no guards, just quiet and waiting. Elias stayed in the palace infirmary. The Empress had let the doctors examine them both. Privately, carefully, no cameras, no observers, just truth. He sat on the medical bench, fingers clenched. The doctor returned with a scan chip. Her voice was low, almost shaking. "It's not just compatibility," she said. "It's perfect." Elias frowned. "Explain." She turned the display. 2 profiles. His, hers, matched. Sequences. Shared immune codes. Cross-species compatibility. Reproduction possible. Naturally. Elias stared at the screen. Not because of what it meant, but because it confirmed the one thing he hadn't wanted to believe. They weren't just pretending anymore. He went to her chamber that night. No guards. Stopped him. She opened the door herself. "I saw the scan," he said. She nodded. "I know. They said it's possible." "Yes. They said the child could survive." She looked at him. And this time, she looked afraid. "I never expected it to work," she whispered. "I did," Elias said. She looked up, surprised. "Why?" "Because you needed it to." He walked into the room, stopped by the window, stared out at the stars. "You made a deal," he said. "But now it's more than that." The Empress sat down slowly. Her voice was quiet, raw. "I don't want a cage. Not for me. Not for a child. Not for you." He turned. Her eyes shimmered gold, but softer now. No shine of power, only emotion. "I want you to choose this," she said. "Not for my empire. Not for duty. Just for me." Elias stepped forward, stopped in front of her. She stood. They were close now, closer than ever. He said, "Then I choose this, on one condition." She held her breath. "What?" He touched her hand, gentle, careful. "You raise the child with me, not as Empress and heir, but as us." She blinked. Tears didn't fall, but they burned behind her eyes. "I've never been anyone but Empress." Elias leaned closer, then whispered, "Then it's time you meet the woman underneath." "No," Kiss no touch, just two broken people, finally choosing the same future together. The message went out quietly. No announcement, no ceremony. Just one short line sent from the Empress's private channel. An heir is confirmed. By morning, every world in the Zahari Empire had heard, and by noon, the silence was over. Celebration bloomed in some places, fear in others. A human, as the father. Old nobles scoffed, rivals stirred, whispers turned to rumors, and rumors turned to plans. But inside the palace, everything changed. Elias no longer wore chains. He wore robes, simple but clean. Not like a king, like a partner. He stood beside her. Now at dinners, at meetings, at the top of palace steps where no human had ever stood. The people gave him names. Some called him consort, others pretender. One word followed him most: problem. Elias didn't fight it. He listened, watched, waited, because now he understood. This wasn't just about the child. It was about what the child meant. The Empress met with her advisors behind closed doors. Elias was invited to one meeting, just one. The Yao room went still when he entered. Old generals, ancient bloodlines, eyes sharp like knives. The Empress gestured to him. He speaks for the safety of the heir. They laughed. One said, he doesn't belong here. Elias didn't raise his voice. He looked at the map on the table and said, then you don't belong in the future. No one laughed after that. That night, the Empress sat beside him in the garden, silent. She was always quiet now, as if the more the world saw her, the less she wanted to be seen. She took his hand. I told myself I'd never need anyone. Didn't answer. She looked at him, eyes softer now, tired, but not afraid. But I need you, not just here. I need you standing with me. Elias looked at her hand, then at the stars, and whispered, then give me something to protect. The next morning she gave him command of the palace guard. The nobles were furious. But the guards, they followed. Because Elias didn't give speeches. He gave orders that made sense. He trained with them, ate with them, bled with them. They had never seen that from anyone above their rank. And slowly, the palace changed. Not everyone welcomed him. Some still wanted him gone. One tried. Late at night, a blade in the shadows, but the assassin didn't reach her. Because Elias did. He took the wound. Not deep, but enough. Enough for her to realize something vital. He's not here because I kept him. He's here because he chose to stay. The next day he stood in front of the palace with a healing cut across his side. He didn't wear armor. He didn't need it. He wore his scars like medals, and the people? They saw him now. Not just the human, not just the father, but the man holding up the kingdom with both hands. The galaxy had grown too quiet. That kind of silence only comes before something sharp, and it came. A message arrived on royal frequency. Not a threat, a request, dressed in formal words, polite, cold, dangerous. To ensure the survival of both species, the unborn hybrid must be surrendered for scientific evaluation. Temporary detainment. Long-term study may follow. The Empress read it once, then again. She didn't speak, just stared. Elias stood beside her. He didn't need to read it. He saw everything in her face. The stillness, the pain behind her gold eyes. They don't want our child, she said softly. They want a weapon. Elias stepped forward. Then we say no. They won't listen. Then we make them. Later that day, a meeting was called. Ambassadors, scientists, generals, all gathered in the crystal hall. The Empress entered, tall and silent. Elias entered behind her. No crown, no speech, just his hand resting gently on the hilt of his belt. Not a sword, a tool, but a message. The lead ambassador stood. He bowed lightly. Fake kindness. We ask only for cooperation. The child must be studied. It's unique. Elias stared at him, said nothing. The Empress replied, "You see uniqueness. I see life." The ambassador pressed, "Your child is not just yours. It belongs to science. To progress." Elias stepped forward, one step, voice calm, deadly calm. "Then tell me, what part of my child do you want first? The lungs? The spine? The blood?" Silence. Then he added, "I'm the father. You'll have to cut me open first." The room went still. No one moved. The ambassador swallowed, but still tried. "You are a soldier. You understand sacrifice." Elias looked at the Empress, then back at them. "I was a soldier. Now I'm something stronger." The Empress spoke, standing beside Elias now. "You mistake our kindness for weakness. We didn't come to trade a child for favor. We came to build a future." The hall emptied. The message had been heard. The answer was final. That night, the Empress stood in her garden, holding a small glowing orb. An old royal crest passed down from mother to daughter. She turned to Elias. "They'll come again. For me, for you, for our child." Elias took the crest from her hands. "Then we fight, not for thrones, for each other." She stepped into his arms. No titles, no war rooms, no walls, just breath, just skin, just warmth. The stars above flickered like they were watching, and for the first time, she whispered, "I love you." Elias closed his eyes. "You don't have to say it." "I wanted to," she said, "not as Empress, just as me." The palace was quiet again, but this time not from fear. It was the silence of waiting, the kind of silence that holds its breath. Inside the birthing chamber, the Empress gripped the edge of the table, sweat on her brow, her silver skin flushed, her jaw tight. No guards, no nobles, only her, the doctor, and Elias standing at her side. He didn't flinch, didn't blink. He held her hand as if she might break, but she didn't. She roared. And then, a cry. Not hers, not his, theirs. The child was small, wrapped in a soft white blanket, silver skin, brown, eyes golden streaks glowing faintly at the temples. The healer gasped. A perfect hybrid. The Empress didn't care. She just whispered, "Alive." Elias held the child first. He looked down at the tiny life in his arms. The baby stared back at him, unblinking, like it already knew him. "She has your eyes," the Empress said weakly. He smiled. "She has your fire." The next morning, Elias stood at the edge of the throne hall, cleaned, rebuilt. The guards bowed as he passed, not because they had to, but because he had earned it. The Empress sat on the throne again, but not like before. She sat sideways, her child asleep in her arms, hair down, crown gone, only her. She looked at Elias. "I promised you freedom." He nodded. "I remember. You're free to go." "I know." Silence. He stepped forward, not fast, not slow, just steady. Then said, "I don't want freedom anymore." She blinked, surprised. "Why?" He smiled gently. "Because I already have it, here." The child stirred, reached for his finger, held it tight, and just like that, he was no longer the prisoner, he was home. Later, they stood on the balcony, stars above, people below. No speeches, just presence, just peace. She asked softly, "Will you still love me when I grow old?" He looked at her, kissed her forehead. "I already love what's older than you." Your heart? And below? Across the empire? For the first time in years, the people saw something stronger than power. They saw a family. She once bound him in chains, but he stayed for love, not duty, not blood, not honor, just love.